Good evening and welcome to the 5th round of the Virtual Touring Masters Classic. Hello, I'm Ryan Cullen and welcome to the 5th round of the Virtual Touring Masters Classic. We're here from Pukekohe Park for today's event. We will have 2 sprint races for you, with the second race grid decided by the first race with a random number between 6 and 10 places reversed for that. As you can see, this is the 5th round of the championship. It will be races 7 and 8 of the championship, because both Laguna Seca and Vitus Park have been double race events also. So we're well over halfway in the championship. Championship standings at the moment feature Toby Davis and Adrian Holm at the top of those standings. There would be a standings there for you if I actually had the right file for you guys. I do apologise. At the moment, Toby Davis is 1 point ahead of Adrian Holm, but we are coming up to now a couple of rounds, especially here and then at Salzburgring, where Adrian Holm's Skyline was more suited to those tracks than Toby Davis's Sierra Cosworth. So look for those places to swap around again as we go through the summer here, and if we go into the fall period. At the start of the season, it was Toby Davis leading. Adrian Holm took over. Toby Davis took it back again. Adrian Holm took over, and Davis is back on top once again. But that's a very, very narrow gap at the moment. But Davis is very confident going into Brands Hatch and Trois Rivières. If you look on the calendar, those are later in the season after Salzburgring, which of course has that long straight which the Skyline can stretch its legs. But Trois Rivières and Brands Hatch will be key towards Toby's title tilt, and then it's all bets are off for Mount Panorama, of course. Right, the drivers are in qualifying at the moment. The laps are very quick here also as well, so we're looking for both a quick race and a quick qualifying session also. The pace setter during pre-practice and during the practice up to the 2 weeks prior to the event has been John Munro in the Skyline, with Adrian Holm close behind. But of course it suits the Holdens also as well, this track, so it's going to be very interesting indeed. Let's go into the game for you now and show you what's happening on track. Which, as you can see, we've got well over 30 drivers out on track for this event here today, and it is still John Munro, the driver, who is setting the pace at the moment. As you can see, he's got a 58.476 currently. Comes through that final very tricky turn, lots of bumps. There's a crest there on the exit also as you're turning, and he does go up very slightly, improves his time to a 58.469. His best so far has been a 58.342. So that's what he's going to be looking to get to. Sarlo and Davis coming out of the pit as well. There's Davis in the Sierra, and Sarlo in the Holden Commodore in behind the very light blue Finnegan Matthews Holden Commodore. Adrian Holm has come back out on track also as well. Sarlo going out for a run. Davis as well going out for a run. Fastest Davis has done is 58.7, which is very good in this particular car, but it's not good enough to topple the Skylines at the moment. Ross McGregor is back. He only did the opening round at Spa-Francorchamps. He does have wins in the Virtual Touring Masters, albeit in a different mod. That's in the DRM mod, which we used last season, which is the only time we've used the DRM mod for a season. And he took 4 wins, in fact. He didn't take the championship, 4 wins in 7 races. And he just wasn't consistent enough. Yes, Torborg cleaned up his 3rd Virtual Touring Masters title there. But Ross, obviously, is a threat here today. Jeff Dobbing has been qualifying fantastically lately. Really impressed by the way Joff has come back to TPS. Klaus Naring there jumping up into 3rd spot. With Reece Gardner back in the pits, he's set a lap time, put a banker in there for now. Chris Butcher as well. Lennon out on track, he's 10th currently with Bass and Rivio. Helen is making his comeback to TPS. It's been over 3 years since Mikael Helen was out on track, and it was with the Virtual Touring Masters in Season 2, of which this is a replica of, that he was the last time he raced, which is Laguna Seca in fact. So it's literally been, how many seasons? 1, 2, 3 full seasons for Mikael Helen before he came, 4 full seasons should I say, before he came back. Wiesenmuller also is back in the championship as well. Here he is in 6th spot and very sideways into that 3rd complex, and that's one way to get the car turned, and he will be looking to be quick here also as well. He's 6th in the standings at the moment. Let's catch up with the leaders, because of course remember it's very easy to miss the leaders here because it's very quick, these laps. Are we on replay at the moment? No, we're not. Not sure why it's timing John Munro, but there you go. He's on an outlap at the moment, just coming to the pit. Oh, look at Adrian Holm, extremely hard final turn, and goes Paul as well. 58.358, pushing that hard has paid off for Adrian Holm. He's 2nd in the championship, but he is looking for no less than a double win here today. He definitely wants to win the 1st race. Of course, the 2nd race is a reverse grid, so it can be a little bit tricky, but he definitely is looking for that. Anything less than that, and he will be slightly disappointed. Toby Davies is up in that 1st sector, and getting a draft off Rasmus Sarlo as well. Sarlo giving him a lovely draft here down the straight. Sarlo gets out of the way. They are THR stablemates, remember, of course. There's no teams in the Virtual Touring Masters, but there are, of course, still organisations. Davis there getting a lovely draft of Rasmus Sarlo, and he is up as well. He can match the Skyline through this final section also. So this is on. Davis could take the pole position right here, and that would be a sensational turn up for the books. He has missed the apex there at the final corner. Not as sideways as Adrian Holm. It's not going to be pole position, but it will be 3rd. 58.725. A little bit disappointed he'll be with that, considering he was up on Adrian Holm going into that 3rd sector. Davis there, we were pleased with that. He's looking for top 5 finishes only. Gets out of the way there for both Chris Butcher and Reece Gardner coming through. Well, Nyring here, he's going to finish in the lap. Oh, and he goes wide onto the grass. That's something you can do very easily here, as Nyring has demonstrated for me. Adrian Holm is out on track. John Munro is out on track as well. Not on a fast lap at the moment, but he's going to start winding up for one now. So let's go on board with him. On board the Cal Sonic Skyline. Here's the rest of the standings for you as well. Cut-off for the 105% qualifying cut-off. It's around about 1 minute 1.2, so just Daniel Montero at the moment struggling to get under that. And we're looking untidy through that 1st section, and yes, he agrees. He goes straight back to the pit. We've got 2 minutes, just under 3 minutes, should I say, left in this session. We've got Demelin and Matthews as well not under the 105% currently, but I'm sure they will get there. Matthews is out on track as well at the moment. So back to the front of the field, Adrian Hum, here he is. Winfield Black Nissan Skyline. We've come to know so well this season. Heads through the hairpin. Matthews has qualified as well, he's straight in there, so that's never under any doubt for him. Just Montero and Demelin to get in now. His cousin Wukash is qualified at the moment in the BMW 635, and Holm is he going to improve? I'm not seeing any of his splits be any good. He doesn't, but that's good enough. He's back for another third place as Sarlo goes third. Sarlo's going to be a big threat here, of course, in the big Holden Commodore, 450 brake horsepower. The Skyline has 400 brake horsepower. The Sierra Corsa 370, so you can see the disparity down these straights, and Sarlo isn't far off home through that first sector either. That first sector is not as quick as a Skyline, of course, because it's not as nimble, but it does have that more brute force coming down this straight here. Let's see what his split is as he goes to sector 2. Sector 2 just after the hairpin. Davis is up once again in that first sector. If he's got another draft, it could be a fast lap for him, but we will go back to him just when we've watched Rasmus Sarlo come through the final turn. That's spectacular stuff right in behind Paul Jones, and he doesn't improve. Nyring goes fourth, and means Toby Davis is booked back to fifth. He's a 10th off here, is Davis. He probably believes he can improve. He's on a 0.669 actually while we've been looking at other people. So he has improved just by himself. So let's see what he can do here. Comes out of the final corner. And it's a 58.561. He goes third. He goes to third spot, and he will be extremely happy with that. And straight out on track again as well. He might get just one more run in. But third place at the moment for Toby Davis. He will be delighted with that, let me assure you, because he's really fearing the Skylines and the Holdens here today, but showing his skill in this Sierra Cosworth at a track that does not suit him. Remember, in Season 2, of which is a replica of, remember as well, Peter Develar, he was fantastic here at Pukekohe, did not have anywhere near the fastest car for the track. Remember, he had the Volvo, not very fast in a straight line when it gets to high speed because of the drag, because of the shape of the car, and he managed to come away with 2 podium positions, and that was key, probably the championship turning point in fact actually for Peter Develar. So it just shows, you just minimise your weaknesses, it can really help you in the championship, and Davis is doing that here at the moment. Anyone else out on track? Adrian Holm is not out on track. Monroe is a quarter of a second down at first set. He won't make that up. Looks like Adrian Holm is going to get pole position here. We've got Rasmus Wiesenmuller. Rasmus Sarlo in fourth. Robert Wiesenmuller, he's in fifth. With Klaus Nyring in sixth. Everyone's back in the pits now. Will McGregor improve? No. He stays in seventh spot with eighth. Again, a fantastic effort from Jeff Dobbing. He's in 8th spot. Reese Gardiner, will he improve here? Will he usurp Jeff Dobbing here? Reese comes going to cross over the line. No, does not improve. 59.340. Less than his 59.225. As Chris Butcher starts another lap, I very much doubt he'll get this lap in, but he's going to try anyway. Davies is faster at the moment. He might get this lap in. He slid it into the hairpin, and that's not going to be any good. In fact, well, he kept his momentum up perhaps around the outside of the hairpin, but no, it's a quarter of a second down, not going to improve. So it looks like that is your top 10 locked in for now. And there we go, right into the warm-up session, and then we'll go through the grid for you in a couple of minutes' time for you just after these videos.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello and welcome back to the Virtual Touring Masters. We've just seen the qualifying session there where Adrian Holm has put his Nissan Skyline on pole position. He was favourite for that alongside John Munro, but the real turn-up for the books has been the fact that Toby Davis is on third place on the grid. We'll run through the grid for you in just a few minutes here, but just to talk about what we've got coming up, of course, in 2 weeks' time, once again, we've got the next round, which is going to be from Salzburg Ring, which is always a cracking track and a cracking race there. We often see a mix there, of course. You've got the long straights, but also you've got the final section, which is very sweeping and suits the handling cars a lot. So if Eric de Veit perhaps is racing there in the Rover, he's going to be very strong there indeed. We've also got highlights from Laguna Seca Race 1 coming up for you during the warm-up session in between the two races. Remember, we've got a second race here today with the grid reversed in the top between 6 and 10 positions. And then if you want to catch that up, that will be on YouTube later tonight. And also later this week, the race 2 highlights from Laguna Seca also. And then next week, we'll have highlights from this race. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/touringpro series. It couldn't be simpler. And they've got Twitter on there as well, and Facebook. You can join our well over 1,000 fans on Facebook also as well. I'm delighted to welcome now Keith Barrick. Keith is broadcasting live from Mont Tremblant. Keith is karting this weekend. Hello, Keith.
Hello, Ryan. I'm glad I could get this sorted out. I'm up in the mountains at the moment at the Mont Tremblant circuit for the Canadian National Karting Championships, and seeing as I was away last week, I had to make sure that I was here for this one. Laryngitis touched me last week, or for the last event, and I didn't want to miss any more of this action.
Yeah, it really is a fantastic action, and we've had qualifying session, Keith, and you're going to run us through that grid now then.
Yeah, we've got Adrian Holm sitting on pole with a 58.358. John Munro running in second at a 58.469. And you'll notice that's 2 Skylines up front. So we'll kind of see how that plays out as the race goes on here. But Toby Davis in third, who I believe I read somewhere that he was predicted that he'd be lucky to be top 5. I think he said that.
He did indeed, yes.
Yeah, so Toby Davis in the Cosworth sitting in third, Rasmus Salo in the Holden in fourth, Robert Wiesenmuller in the Skyline in fifth, Klaus Nyring, a great qualifying for him to 58.6, Ross McGregor in seventh, Jeff Dobbing in eighth, Reese Gardner in ninth, Chris Butcher back in 10th, which is a little uncharacteristic for him. However, Chris Butcher being known for his starts, I would expect to see him up fairly soon. Missing the 11th.
My apologies.
Well.
Bit too eager there. Bit too eager. There we go.
Olmerius Mirbold in 11th. Gary Lennon in 12th. Eunice Ravio in 13th, who, from my best of recollection, is one endorsement away from probation, I believe. Or no,
he is, yes.
Elimination.
His suspension. He's been a naughty boy this season. But, just small things.
It's because he's driving the Alpha. It's got him all hopped up, small package, lots of power. Ethan Bass sitting in 14th. Bruno Sousa Ferreira 15th. Mikhail Helen sitting in 16th. Tim Straub in 17th in the Ford Mustang. Bradley Venian in 18th. Tommy Oyala in 19th. Followed by Scott Sovic in 20th. Daniel Beck in 21st. Jonathan Ockenklint in 22nd. 23rd is Juha Tunainen. Did I get that right?
He did. I'm very proud of you.
24th is Matej Orban. 25th is Chris Vickers. 26th is Paul Menard. 27th, Tony Matthews. 28th, Roy Magnez. 29th is Jay Adji. 30th is Andy Benar. I believe there's one more in the grid, or is that the multi-BC car?
I think there is actually, perhaps. Yes, there is. There we go.
Yeah, Lukasz Demelin in 31st, followed by Daniel Montero, 32nd. Paul Jones in 33rd. Tomasz Demelin in 34th. So
yes, unfortunately, Tomasz did not qualify for this event either, I'm afraid, because he's not under the 105%. So it's a shame, but we do have 33 qualifiers for this event. It's going to be a bit of a doozy, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Toby Davis will be very, very, very pleased with his third spot on the grid. Keith, we got the champion standings as they are at the moment. We got Toby Davis is 1 point ahead of Adrian Holm, with John Munro in third spot. Matty Orban having a great season in fourth, but he's about to get his comeuppance, you would feel, in these next few races in his M3.
Yes. I mean, short track, I'm surprised to see a Holden up there as far as it is, but we've seen.
You're surprised to see a Holden up there?
Yeah, not really. The Holden seems to be up there. It seems to always just kind of find a way to wedge itself in pretty well everywhere.
I wonder if Keith doesn't know the layout of this track.
I'm having a moment here, Ryan. I'm actually, as I'm sitting in the truck commentating, because I'm sitting in the truck here, I'm actually looking out at the track as my class is on for one of the sessions that I intended on missing, and I'm looking at my two teammates out there nose to tail, putting a smackdown on the rest of the field here.
Well, stop doing that and concentrate on this. This is far more exciting.
Yes,
going to be far exciting. And we've got Mikael Helen back in the series after 3 years, Keith.
Wow.
3-4 years Mikael Helen has been out of TPS4. So
it's probably a little nostalgic for him to be back.
Yeah, April 2011. Remember, he's a race winner and came second in the original season of Virtual Touring Masters, so he's got pedigree. He hasn't gone with the quickest car, it has to be said.
Yes.
But it's nice to see him back at least.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it'll take some, getting back into the swing of things. It's always tough racing at Touring Pro Series. I mean, everyone, puts their A game on. It's a big deal. Lots of preparation, and away they go.
They do. So that's we're going to go into, of course, the race now, and drivers are setting off on their formation lap. And here's Adrian Holm on pole position, as to be expected with this track having its long straight. It's a quick, twisty first section, and then long straights followed by the tight hairpin, and then we got two fast left-hander and right-hander to finish the lap off also as well. What's the predictions for this event, Keith?
Well, seeing as I'm so in tune with things at the moment, I'm gonna go with it. And again, I apologize. It's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks. This month's been a bit of a write-off for time-wise, but I mean, Adrian Holm just is completely well-rounded. As long as he gets off the line, okay, I'm going to go with him because he's got clear track. I think he's just gone.
And what about John Monroe? I mean, he's been faster than his not teammate. Oh, he is a teammate. They are THR now, aren't they? So, but he's been faster than Adrian Holm during pre-practice, and John has a win in Virtual Touring Masters, so I'd rate his chances.
I like John. John's got a lot of skill, but A is for Adrian, and A is the first letter in the alphabet, which means first.
Okay,
that's
so
my,
there we
have. That's my theory.
That's your theory. Okay, so let's go with that. So, what's J in the alphabet? 10th or something? So, yeah, Toby's like 20th. So let's go with that. Let's go with that. It's a sound theory.
That's Keith logic.
It's a sound theory. So the drivers are now lining up on the grid. Remember, we've got a sprint race here today, 25 laps. It sounds like that's more laps than Laguna Seca is saying, but it will fly by. The race will be 10 minutes faster than Laguna Seca because of that long straight. So keep yourself on your toes. Do not go away and make yourself a cup of coffee or a tea or anything like that, because this will be non-stop action. The field is just gridding up at the back of the grid now. I'm just waiting for Paul Jones to get into place, and he has done. A bit of a downhill slope for the guys at the back of the field. So we're just waiting now for the lights to come on.
Oh, no, where we go?
Away from the grid we go. And Adrian Holm with a fantastic start. John Monroe with a terrible start. Rafa Salo takes third spot. And of course, Toby Davis makes his customary fantastic start and is right on the back of Adrian Holm in these opening laps, and he will be backing himself with those cold tyres to put pressure on Adrian Holm. He needs to stay in that slipstream right here though, because that has such a great motor under that Nissan Skyline. Look at it pull away already. So Holm, Davis, Salo, Monroe, Wiesenmuller, Nyring, Dobbing and McGregor. That's your top 8. Dobbing with a fantastic start to the race, backing up his great qualifying. As Salo now just drives right around the outside of Toby Davis. Davis brakes on the inside, of course. Salo now going forward and cut back, not able to make it work this time around.
Yeah, looking close now, Nyring up to 6th position off the start here as kind of holding his own there in 6th around Wiesenmuller and McGregor at the moment.
Over the tricky final turn with this big crest here where everyone gets very, very sideways indeed. And now Salo's got a great run as well. He's got a better run through that corner than Toby Davis. So even though he's in a big hole, it is actually cornered better than this Ford Sierra. And Toby does not want this. He's going to be hassled by Holdens all race long. We thought at one point he might be hassled by Olimaris Merville. He might be further down the grid, maybe where Chris Butcher is. And Chris Butcher is now right with the Holdens as well back there. So he's going to have a fun time of it. But for now, we'll focus on these top drivers. Holm out in front, Davis in second spot. If Davis can hold on to second spot here, he will be absolutely delighted. There's a long, long way to go. Well, lap 2 of 25. We are coming to the end of lap 2 already. And now Salo once again, the same move, carbon copy. It's deja vu all over again.
Oh, look at sideways! Rasmus Salo gets right sideways and almost gets collected by John Monroe there. You just got to be a little careful. I mean, we're any strategy that we're going to be looking at for tires is just straight through in the sprint.
Straight out sprint, wham bam, thank you driver. And away we go.
Oh, I love that.
So Monroe in 4th spot. He's after a very poor start. It was really just churled away from the line, didn't he? Didn't get going at all. There's no wheel spin. It just kind of went away like a granny. But he did at least get it going. He is in 4th spot. He does have great pace. But one would think that a race win is kind of out of his grasp right now because it's hard to get past that Holden and it's hard to get past that Toby Davis.
He's just got to hold on.
Russell Solo is trying to hold on, and it's Toby Davis trying to hold on to that position now. We're seeing the same thing once again, but this time Russell Solo is a bit further inside. Davis down the inside. I hope he's been practicing his inside braking moves. He looks like he has because that's beautifully drifted into the corner once again. I love that shot. As they go into the hairpin. We can't see too much of the fighting behind. Oh, it's side by side here. This is dangerous stuff through the fast left-hander here, and then through the final corner as well. They sort themselves out. That was great racing for both of them. And now McGregor's going to try and do the cutback and doesn't quite do it. Home, fastest lap. Not a surprise there.
Yeah, got some clean track. Just looking up, looking forward, not looking behind.
Now McGregor is all over the back of Nari. Remember, McGregor usually gets better as the race goes on.
John Monroe! John Monroe is off, and Reese Mueller's gone through. It looks like here. So
let's have a look. Here is the replay. And what exactly happened? Just pushing too hard. Yep, just pushing too hard. Understeer, and of course went straight over the curb. And Wiesenmuller was there. Thank you very much, John. I'll go straight through.
Yep.
And now here it's a live action. Oh, rewind! And goodness me! How did none of them spin? Goodness me, that was absolutely incredible. That needs a replay, Keith. Absolutely incredible. This is from Ross McGregor's shot. So Naring is not really paying attention too much and goes far too deep in the brakes. And look at this. Goes in. He jacks it sideways, almost like a truck driver on the highway in wet conditions. And look at that, it's incredible. And none of them even lost a position, I don't think. Maybe Wiesenmuller did. Oh, there's contact there. And what's on earth happened there? And Naring and Wiesenmuller both went. They both went around. Wiesenmuller held on, but Naring definitely went around completely. And Naring is way back in the field.
Oh, dear.
So just over that big bump. It really unsettled the car, and Wiesenmuller just clipped the back of Naring, and Naring is back in 31st. Of course, that's a blind corner as well, fast, and he has to wait for everyone to go past him. As Andy Bernard, we've lost him, and we've lost also Paul Minard as well. I believe he missed the going onto the grid, and then drove out before the pit lane was green, unfortunately. But now, this is the problem you've got. You've got Ollie Marius Mervold with Chris Butcher and Robert Wiesenmuller. You do not want to be stuck behind Ollie Marius Mervold. Anybody who raced here in Season 2 who was stuck in behind him will attest to that.
A little bit of a nudge. Oh, Mervold just getting a little swirly. It's always scary coming up over that crest there. As you look back, Mervold, you can see he's got to brake so much earlier than just about every other car. Kind of slowly. Incredible mass of that vehicle.
Wiesenmuller again. Oh, what a move from Butcher. That was fantastic.
Yeah, Butcher just kind of seen it coming, took advantage, and just looked really cleanly actually.
Perfectly timed as well. It really was. Beautiful that was. So now Butcher is up to 7th spot. Meervold is up to 6th, with Wiesenmuller back to 8th spot now. Reese Gardner in 9th. And Gary Lennon in a very lonely 10th at the moment. He was complaining that he'll have to be around other people and they'll get in his way while he's trying to corner, and then down the straights they'll just blast past. But actually, he's probably the loneliest guy on the track right now.
Yeah, Gary's a bit of a loner, kind of keeps to himself, a little quiet, kind of the serial killer type, real quiet.
I'm sure he'll be impressed by that. He is from Scotland after all.
Yeah, Gary and I go way back, so a little comment like that, not too bad. We're good friends.
Now this is Rivio on board, but looking back at Cervic, almost clipped in the back of Tim Straub and overcorrecting it also as well on the exit, getting sideways. Tim Straub has 209 and Cervic behind him. Of course, Tim Stroud has that big Mustang for his weaponry. So his armoury is pretty well stocked. And his armoury is not pretty well stocked in the corners, unfortunately. And now Oyala trying to come through. There is Mikael Helen mixing it. He'll remember racing with Tommy Oyala back in the day, and he will be probably be enjoying this. Let's hope he is.
Just something to point out, and I've never noticed this before, and this is going to be really kind of random. The car that Tony Matthews said, the Mustang there?
That's Tim Stroud.
Oh, Tim Stroud. It's sponsored by Fiamma. Fiamma makes awnings for recreational vehicles.
Oh, well, and he sells with recreational vehicles, for those who are wondering what the tenuous link is about.
Yes, so Caravan.
Okay, so this is now your favourite car.
Yes, it is. Absolutely my favorite car. But I'm so sorry, it's the most random fact.
So while drivers are racing up to 150 miles an hour, Keith Bright comes out with a caravan.
Yes.
But it's good. I'm liking that. We can try to keep things different here.
I'm surrounded by race fuel. I'm a little off base.
Yeah, well, and you're actually dressed in a racing suit right now while you're commentating.
I am in my racing suit right now, sitting in the truck, and for the next practice session that comes up, I'm going to have to leave because it's the final session of the day.
Well, that's absolutely fine. And of course, remember the race suit that he's wearing is XXXL. So
yes.
If anybody wants to buy him one, that's the size you need to get him.
Yes. What I do need is a Touring Pro Series pack for my suit. Oh, look at this. Butcher's getting into it with Marius Mirvold here. Trying around the outside.
Squeezing back across. And Butcher won't be pleased with that because even though the natural line makes the car go that way, he would expect a little bit more room there. But Mirvold's not the type to give room. Wiesemuller's dropping back. He's very inconsistent here today. Gardner is not close to Mirvold like I would thought he would be. There's been a bit of a shake-up in that maybe 10th to 15th position, I think, in the opening laps because Jeff Dobbing has disappeared, as he seems to do so. And Salo out. Salo out. Why is he out?
What happened to Salo?
I think it must just be a disconnection. That looks that's lag from both people there, but it's definitely a disconnection just for him. Oh, no, he just pulled over and stopped, look.
Maybe his dog ate his homework?
Maybe his dog ate his engine, perhaps.
That's really unfortunate. What does it say? Does it just say
just DNF? Yeah.
So it's not he didn't downshift too quick. That's really unfortunate. Maybe something happened at his home because he literally just pulled off the track.
And there he is, all the way back there. So Nyring has made his way back up to 28th now. 27th, should I say. Just gone past Chris Vickers. And we got Adrian Holmes still leading the field serenely at the moment.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting to see a little bit more kind of back and forth as Toby just catches the curb and slides the car completely sideways in Toby Davis fashion.
Yeah, it's always a joy to watch Toby drive that car because he drives it on the edge of adhesion everywhere, beautifully balanced with oversteer and throttle input. It's really, really great to see.
Well, on the drive to Mont Tremblant, which is about 7.5 hours, I was telling my dad that we were going to be commentating. Also, one of our drivers, Andre Fiorini, who runs Junior, I was telling him that my dad asked, what series is it you're commentating on? I said Virtual Touring Matches. Oh, I can't remember this one. I've seen so many of these races. I said the one where when Toby Davis hit the wall at Bathurst. Oh yeah, I remember. So a complete outsider remembers the Davis incident, and I remember telling him I told him about the new paint job at Bathurst.
Oh yes, we do have that. For those who are not aware, you should be aware by now. Not a fan of Touring Pro Series if you're not. Where have you been hiding?
Yes.
We do have we've got the name. We've got the corner named basically on the wall at the S's at Bathurst. It now says Davis S's, and
yes,
we get three bites at who that was. And Davis has now been passed by John Munro, and he's going down the inside of somebody surely because that was a big locked-up break. And Munro is behind him now. And there he is. So it's side by side through this final section once again, but he'll have the inside line for the final corner. And that's exactly where he wants to be.
Well,
he doesn't need to push it. He's pushed it.
Cut back.
He's tried pushing it. It's okay.
He's gonna have a lot of momentum if he can use all the track, get in the slipstream, and slide one down the inside here. Coming in, look at, he's got the slipstream looking down to the inside. No, thinks better of it. Davis carries on in second. Monroe just sitting in third comfortably, but looks very, very menacing on the back of Davis right now.
Just so quick that first turn. I'm like, oh! Where did that come from? That was Tony Matthews out of absolutely nowhere, and here comes Ross McGregor! Monroe and Matthews caught out. What on earth happened there? Ross McGregor's gone straight past. He's trying to break the toe already. Look at that. No, he does not want Toby Davis near him. We're going to replay that very, very shortly. In fact, we'll do it now. We'll do it now. We've got
Yep.
Oh, and it's, look at that. Matthews just lost it by himself. He's just driving around and just... Oh, look at that. He backs right into both of them. And Monroe had to go around the outside as well. But both sliding on the grass trying to get back on. And McGregor nips through. Back to live action. Oh, absolutely incredible.
Opportunistic Ross McGregor. He is, I gotta say, he kind of seen that all unfolding as the car's backing him up on the outside of the track. Slides down to the inside, and boom, now he's in second. Davis probably has a little bit of damage because there was some contact. And as you can see, McGregor's actually opened up a bit of a gap here. Now, Mirabol's sitting in fifth, Butcher in sixth. Reese Gardner is sitting in seventh place, having a fantastic run.
And Butcher will be sick of the sight of the back of that Holden Commodore. He really will. And here comes Gardner and Wiesenmuller working together. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes, Butcher. He's going to try to squeeze the Holden out. Oh, he's done it. He's done it, but...
No, here it is. Here's Holden power. He's holding on.
He's going to hold on to that position, surely.
He's not going to get him. Oh, he's right through. He's right by, and that is Mirabol. Basically, putting a little bit of a smackdown on Butcher right now because it does get frustrating. We've seen it in the past with the different cars that we have. It's down the inside. Robert Wiesenmuller's inside. Butcher's around. Oh, Butcher's did Wiesenmuller get into the back of him on the exit of that corner?
Let's see. This is a replay right now.
It was okay. So I think that he had to check up because of Mirabol, and Wiesenmuller had a great run through the corner and was a little off. So Butcher gets on the ball.
No contact from anybody.
Butcher all day.
So Butcher back to ninth, and he's dropped back in behind Gary Lennon, look. So after all that, he's let the frustration get the better of him, and he's pushed too hard. Back to second place, though. We're not seeing very much. Oh, was that Reese Gardner off the track just then? I think it was, because Wiesenmuller is still there. Oh, hello. And Meervold very aggressively chopping across the front of Wiesenmuller there, making sure he doesn't get the inside line.
Here we go.
And this will be very interesting indeed. Let's watch this from the roof of Reese Gardner's car.
Front row seat.
Contact! He's around, Wiesenmuller! Oh, he's hauled it! He's around again! Gardner's off as well in sympathy! He's off in sympathy! And Wiesenmuller has gone through! Where's Gary Lennon? Will he come through? No, he's through on Meervold! And Bass has got through a Butcher. That won't please Butcher at all. There goes Meervold ahead. What on earth happened there? Replay, I think, is... Oh, look at this! He's on the grass! So here we go. Here we go, Keith. Give me your take on it.
I have a feeling that Wiesenmuller was a little ambitious on the inside there.
It's still legal. It's still legal, look.
He's lost the back. I think the contact came because the bump there sent this car to the left. And this puts, like, he's now fully on the racetrack. But you need a different view from this because...
Sorry?
Yeah, you'll have to get back up here. But so go back just a touch to the right. As he hits the bump, he comes across. And
well, that bump was quite a way off, look. There's the bump.
Oh, yeah,
but still, because it goes so quickly. Yeah.
You're at 160 kilometers, or no, you're at 200 kilometers an hour though.
Way over.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risky move to put your car down the inside with wheels on the grass. A little ambitious on Wiesenmuller's part, which pretty well, it really got.
And Gardner going off track in sympathy, look.
Well, I think he wasn't sure where it was going. Yeah, having a little picnic.
But anyway. We need to go back to this second place battle now. This is really hotting up. We're going to leave those guys for now. But Wiesenmuller was on the bump. He got squeezed, tried to go down the inside. It's such a difficult situation to judge now.
When did John Monroe go by Davis?
Well, they've been together quite a while, remember? Because of,
when did he go by? I thought Davis.
It must have been a lap ago when that was happening. But
and look at this! They're all over McGregor. John Monroe's in the slipstream. Toby Davis following close too. McGregor's going to be going defensive here, and look at John Monroe looking to the outside. Go deep into this corner. McGregor's going to hold him and try to squeeze the apex. John Monroe tries to squeeze it. McGregor gets into the side of him sideways as he goes through it. Look, John Monroe's going to do it.
Is he going to do it though? No, he's going to have the inside. No, he's going to have the inside. The two Scotsmen in the two Skylines. Look at the cars moving around. Unbelievable on the suspension. Here comes Davis.
Davis has a decision to make.
Who do you follow?
Who do you follow? Or do you try to slip it right up the middle and make it, well, kind of like a sandwich?
Well, yeah, that's one way of putting it. And then Davis now is going to go through the inside. Monroe's there. Oh, he's still just 3-1. He's not going to go, surely. definitely they sort themselves out. That is absolutely incredible.
Oh,
What on earth happened there? Nah, he's got to run off the corner, McGregor. Now it's going to be rinse and repeat for the next few laps, you would fear. And it's only 8 laps to go, Keith. 8 minutes of racing left.
I hope I don't throw my voice out again. This is insane. It's crazy how tight these guys are running without incident at this point. John Monroe trying to get around the outside. McGregor holds the inside. John Monroe locks it up, goes the opposite way. Davis trying to capitalize. McGregor hits the curve on the sideways. Monroe gonna have to get a run. Side by side again. He's left-handed. McGregor knows he's gonna have the inside. John Monroe's gonna have to back off and try to cross over in a spot. Try something a little bit different. But he's going Davis to this squeeze. Davis up the inside. Oh, just so tight.
That was so close to disaster right there. McGregor is holding on for dear life. Of course, we don't know if McGregor's actually slower than Monroe. It's just that Monroe always has that slipstream as well, and there's no way we can really shake that slipstream. Oh, he's hit the back of him! Davis could have kept the boot in there and hit the back of Monroe, you know, but he lifted off, let Monroe recover.
Yes, and now actually, Monroe is at a good distance for slipstream here on McGregor. Usually a little too close, but this will give him a good boost of speed at the end of the straight. If he wants to slide one up the inside, if there's any room. Don't know if he's going to be close enough though, as he comes up down into the hairpin here. Not close enough. He's McGregor.
Oh, contact!
Ooh, a little bit
sneaky.
Little cheeky. Oh, and oh, sorry, I just changed the screen here. I thought Chris Vickers had moved up to 6th.
Well, that would be 5th, to be fair, but yeah.
Yes. So, I kind of get the feeling that Davis is being a little tentative, and just because I think he's seen a little. There is some carnage that's been going around, and I think that he's trying to play it just a little safe, get a good result in this race. Because it's reverse grid for the second, I'm assuming, correct?
It is indeed, yeah. But remember as well, a 4th place for him is a real result. I'm spending some time with Toby at the moment, and when he came home today, he was worried he wouldn't even get in top 5. For him to be running this solidly in 4th spot with a chance of 2nd, he would be absolutely delighted. So if he just keeps his eyes on the bigger picture, I don't think we'll see too many signature Toby Davis dives.
No. I think it's going to be a smart finish. Oh, look at this. McGregor goes wide. Monroe, not going to do it, though. Not going to have the run off. All about momentum, but Davis is going to have a run now on the back of Monroe. If he can find a spot to kind of slide one. But again, like, it's the calm, cool, collected Toby Davis. Perhaps you're having an effect on him.
And now Toby's going to start his 20th lap. Remember, Adrian Holm is winning this race by an absolute country mile. He does have, I think that was Tony, yes, he's got Tony Matthews ahead of him now. We know what happens last time Tony Matthews was in front of the leaders. Mikael Helen, by the way, and he's not had a great return to Touring Pro Series. He's 2 laps down, so something has happened to him. But Holm is in all kinds of traffic here. This is more traffic than I think I've ever seen in the Touring Pro Series in a sprint race for a leader. So that just shows how much of a clinic Adrian Holm is putting on here today, Keith.
He just did a 59.6. I mean, he's flying at the end of this race, and we've seen him. His consistent ability to put those, good laps in through a whole race is, I would say, probably why I would pick him to be champion.
Hello, who's that? Is that Roy Magnez off the track as well? That was a long plume of dust. And I think it was Roy Magnez.
He was maybe looking for the picnic?
Well, I think they're holding picnics around the other side of the track. Roy, oh, he's off as well! Oh, maybe had dust on his tyres. Poor Roy.
Cooked tires. A little bit of ground dirt into some rubber. So Jay Adji, Juha Tuanainen is out as well. Rasmus Salo, Andy Bernard. But again, I mean, you're right. Adrian Holm is putting a clinic on here. He's just pulling away, and my prediction feels good. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yes, look at this. Oh, this is a good run from Monroe. This is better than normal. Look at this. Who does Toby go with? Who do you go with, Keith?
Picnic.
You don't get to choose a picnic. You get to choose which stops you want.
Down the inside, take both. Go.
Oh no, this is no! Don't listen to him, Toby.
No,
he's wide, McGregor. He's wide. Darth Davis is there, not leaving any room. McGregor tried to rejoin on the racing line, didn't quite get in there, and Toby strong arms his way up into 3rd spot.
Yeah, there was a bit of kind of a hip there from Toby, but it's very difficult side by side exiting that corner if McGregor's trying to come back down the track and Davis is already there and he's trying to accelerate to get up and go. Back end's going to kick out near the end of the race here, as you can see. So they're side by side.
actually, from this viewpoint, you can see that McGregor kind of turns it. Look, there's lots of room for McGregor to be in, to be honest, isn't there?
I actually think that Davis was trying to
yeah.
accelerate so he could avoid hitting him, because his wheels are turned to the right there, and he's trying to keep so he can give McGregor a bit of room. It didn't look like he was purposely running up the track.
No, definitely not for me. So I'm going to say it's probably a racing incident right there.
Yeah, and I think Davis will actually probably apologize to McGregor for that, because he didn't look. If he wanted to push him off the track, he would have been moving up that way. He was trying to stay low to give him the racing room. Is what I took from that replay, anyways. And
how much do you rate Toby's chances of getting past John Monroe?
With some lap traffic, I mean, it's good. Davis knows how to make passes, but if he's played it smart so far, and I don't know if he would put a risky pass in there, as he says, throwing up the inside.
Well, if you remember, Keith, I was mentioning earlier in the broadcast, Peter Develar, Season 2, had the Volvo around here. Not the most suited car to this track because of the drag, because of the shape of the car. It's not the most powerful car anyway, 340 horsepower compared to these 400 brake horsepower monsters. And he came away with 2/3 spots, and that really set up his championship charge. That's the sort of thing Toby needs to be doing here today, surely.
Well, I mean, Monroe is under a lot of pressure right now, regardless of whether Toby has intentions of passing or not. It's always difficult at the end of a race. We've been through some scary stuff, and I mean, we've seen some crazy things, like these guys side by side for lap after lap. It's hard to hold on at this point. Like, this is where, your experience and your character can kind of show through, and John Monroe's definitely grown in both of those aspects. He's got a ton of experience now. This is where, if he can hold off Davis, it shows that he has matured leaps and bounds from the time he started at Touring Pro Series, which he's shown other times. But I mean, these are the things that separate champions from non-champions.
Absolutely, and Lennon was in 7th spot, but either made a mistake or has been blasted past by the pink power of Olimarius Mervold. He's back to 8th spot. Now it's Chris Butcher zoning in on him. Ethan Bass is in 10th. Nyring is in his 11th. Yeah, he was in 31st, remember, after that spin. So that shows how much pace
I'm going to
Nyring's
start
got.
a slow clap for Klaus.
Yeah, but absolutely. And but the thing is, if he just gets one more position, he might get a chance of pole in the next race. But as it stands, he won't be anywhere near pole.
That is, Rob, what you said, he needs to be 10th, correct?
He needs to be top 10 to have a chance, absolutely.
Okay, so
he's got
this
1.5 laps.
This is his driving force right now. He probably is just the foaming at the mouth, thinking about that. Like, I can maybe, who knows? You know what? Maybe this will all turn around. Maybe I can get pole in it, and maybe I can get squeeze a race win out of this, because it'll be some redemption.
Absolutely, and we've got Rivio and Orban in behind here as well, having their own little low-powered scrap. These are the top 2 low-powered cars in the field at the moment. Orban going out to have a look at Eunice Rivio. Rivio, after a miserable time at Vitus Park, disqualified from both races, and he obviously crashed out in race 1 of Laguna Seca and started from the back in race 2. So he's looking for a bit of redemption.
Are we starting the final lap now?
We are. Yeah, going back to the front of the field now, and here is Adrian Hum. He's put on an absolute clinic here today, Keith. Been absolutely flawless, apart from that halfway off just there, kicking up some dust. Just trying to distract Łukasz Demelin and Jeff Dobbing, I think. But
15-second gap on a 59-second track.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. He's done 25 laps as well, so he's taken almost 3/4 of a second a second out a lap, and he wins the race at an absolute canter. Well done, Mr. Hum.
Now head back to the battle, because this is 4 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Toby's not going to be able to do it. Not close enough. Skyline's got a little too much straight pine. Well, great race between those two guys right there. McGregor ended up getting a little bit of the short end on that deal. From my perspective, it looked like Davis was trying to keep down, and the back end did step out. They were side by side, and it just.
But if we're going to go with the unlucky stakes, McGregor shouldn't have been in 2nd spot in the first place. Tony Matthews was there, was the guy who helped out Ross McGregor there. So
did Nyring get 10th? Did Nyring get 10th?
Well, we'll see.
Drew Cross is in 9th. We're waiting for Ethan Bass and
Klaus Nyring, who's going to take it. It's going to be 10. Yeah, he's got it! He's got it! He might get 10th spots. He might get pole position. He might get pole position. He will get pole position! He will get pole position here. That's absolutely incredible. I cannot believe that sounds like I've completely fixed that now. I'm not going to talk about that ever again. Because the top 10 will be reversed for the second race.
How are we expected to know that Klaus Nyring, who showed a ton of speed in qualifying, was going to end up going back to first?
I fixed it in the last 2 laps, Keith. Come on. Stay with it. Stay with
Well,
the
yeah,
story.
I was doing the voodoo wave with the screen, you know. But no, I mean, like it's great to see close. Now, I mean, again, this is a fairly new driver to Touring Pro Series. Showing some pace. That's a big deal to come back from 31st up to
That's
up
absolutely
to 10th.
fantastic, and he's got his
It is
reward for that. You know, for that tenacity, and he's on pole
exactly.
position for this next
Exactly,
race.
and you know what? The thing is that will be such a confidence boost that okay, you know what? Crap happens, in a race day, so many things can happen. He didn't, rage quit. I'm pissed. Blah blah blah. Put his head down. Did what he had to do. And you know what? As frustrating as it can be, sometimes even making up just 5 positions, but you lay your fastest lap that you ever run there with fuel in. It's a fulfilling feeling that you've got something out of what was an absolute just cluster F.
So, fantastic stuff from Klaus Narek, fantastic stuff from Adrian Holm. He'll take the lead in the championship now then. We'll come back in a few minutes' time. We'll have race 2 coming up for you, but we do have the highlights from Laguna Seca race 1 to show you now. Enjoy these for the next few minutes. Hello and welcome to the 4th round of the Virtual Touring Masters Classic here from Laguna Seca, and this is a night event with 2 races around this twisting, winding California track, and it was Chris Butcher who put his Ford Sierra on pole position with championship leader Adrian Holm alongside him on that front row. 3rd place Eunice Rivio, while 2nd place in the championship Toby Davis was alongside him. 3rd row was Nairing and Sarlo, an excellent effort in the big Holden Commodore around this tight and twisty track, with Monroe in 7th, Dobbing an excellent 8th, Orban 9th, and Miguel Nato on his VTM debut in 10th. The lights will go green and the field will get underway then. The disaster soon struck for Anders Nielsen. The squeeze on this narrow grid proving too much for the stability of his M3. And the field snaking its way through the corkscrew for the first time. A big gap between 2nd and 3rd. And this was why there was a big gap between 2nd and 3rd. Nairing and Rivio going for the same piece of tarmac, resulting in disaster for Rivio and championship leader Adrian Holm. Holm will drop outside the top 30. But by the start of lap 2, he was siding his way through the field, giving Chris Vickers here a big scare as he moved into 24th spot. And a lap later, he was going down the inside of both Demelin and Ferreira at Rady Curve into 20th. Now lap 2, Davis had also had his issues and he was back to 14th, and here he was diving past Rivio for 13th. Rivio wasn't done, however, and the two scrapped it out round the back of the circuit. The feud eventually solved as Rivio ran out of track. Almost immediately, Davis was on the attack as Beck and Amaral got involved. Cervic pounced. And then so did Davis. Then becoming the pouncer himself on Cervic. On lap 4, Rivio's miserable run of results continued, losing it up the hill and being nailed by poor Jeff Dobbing. Lap 5, and this was Adrian Holm passing Jonathan Ockerklint for 16th. Later in the lap he got past Lennon and Beck, and on lap 7 he was through to 13th, past Reece Gardiner. While on the very next lap he was challenging for 10th, going past the battling Cervic and Bass. And as Cervic challenged Bass for 11th, he ran wide, and that allowed Amaral to come through. The other championship contender fighting his way back through the field was Toby Davis, and on lap 10 he had caught the 6th place battle, Yuntz and Sarlo, getting both positions in just one turn. For Yuntz, it was one step forward and one step back. On lap 11, here was the order. Butcher with a very comfortable lead over Oscar Hardwick, who was beginning to be reeled in by Orban, Munro and Nyring. Davis was 6th, with Yuntz 7th, Sarlo in 8th, Nato in 9th, Holm was still in 10th. On lap 12, here was Bruno Sousa Ferreira challenging Bradley Vanian for 18th. While going into lap 13, Ockerkamp here was going to clean up Scott Cervic. Nyring had run really well, but this lapse in concentration cost him 3 positions. He'd get going just ahead of Miguel Nato, who a few laps later, on lap 16, was coming under big pressure from Adrian Holm. Adrian's progress had been slowed as the opponents got tougher, but this mistake from Nato meant he surrendered 9th spot. Now the Orban-Munro-Hardwick battle for position 2 had become even tighter, and as Orban had to avoid the back of Hardwick under braking, Munro pounced and took the position. Davis was quickly there also as well, and he took advantage of this small bubble from Matty Orban to take 4th. Orban losing 2 positions in half a lap. While on lap 17, on board with Davis, he was watching the battle between Munro and Hardwick, who seemed to be side by side in every corner. And as they came 3 wide up towards turn 7, Davis went through, and some small contact in behind saw Munro lose out. Hardwick was pushing hard on very worn tyres, and Orban took advantage of that mistake to take position 3. On to lap 19 then, the penultimate lap, and Munro had gone around Hardwick, but had he? Hardwick fought back and led into turn 4. But as Munro went for the cutback, Hardwick aggressively defended his line and sent Munro hard into the wall, a move which would see him in very hot water indeed with the stewards. Now in the penultimate lap also, Nyring was challenging Sarlo for position 6, who was clinging on in his heavy Holden, and out of nowhere appeared Adrian Holm, squeezing down the inside, and Nyring losing out, Holm up to 6th. While at the front of the field, Chris Butcher had been in a league of his own, led every single lap, and took a well-deserved, comfortable win. Confirmation of that win for Chris Butcher then is 24th of his TPS career, with the battling Toby Davis finishing in 2nd spot. 3rd podium position of his career for Matty Orban, with David Junt in 4th. Oscar Hardwick finished 5th, but lost 16 of the 21 points after the race, while Adrian Holm finished in 6th. Rasmus Salo finished in 7th, with Klaus Naring will be disappointed with that 8th spot in the end. Miguel Nato on his debut in the VTM 9th, and John Munro in 10th. Hello and welcome back to the Virtual Touring Masters here from Pukekohe. I hope you enjoyed that break. We got the highlights from Laguna Seca. Like I say, that will be on YouTube later. And later this week, we'll also have race 2 from Laguna Seca, including a fantastic finish to that race as well. Looking forward to that. Here are the, well, not the updated standings. I do apologise. Here are the updated standings for the Virtual Touring Masters at the moment. And Adrian Holm, as you can see, has a 4-point lead in the championship. No fancy video for the live standings. We don't have time to do that, unfortunately. Very constrained resources here. Monroe in 3rd place, with Orban still holding on to that 4th spot. He's doing really well. Solid results all season long. So that's the championship standings for you at the moment. So we're going to go into the second race now then. And the second race is coming up for you right here. If I click the right buttons, my apologies, I'm very unprofessional. And on pole position for this race is Klaus Naring. Behind him will be Chris Butcher. Now this, you're thinking, well, Klaus, I didn't see any qualifying. What's going on? Well, Klaus is on pole position, courtesy of the fact that 10 positions were reversed for this second race, meaning because he finished in 10th spot, he gets pole position for race 2. And that was just reward for a very tenacious drive back through the field after he was spun early on in that contact with Robert Wiesemuller. So we've got second spot Chris Butcher, looking for fireworks from the front of this grid, Keith. Naring, Butcher, Lennon, Meervold.
I kind of, when you said fireworks, Katy Perry immediately popped into my head.
Well, let's move away from Katy Perry. We've got very beautiful Chris Butcher driving right now. Look how we can see how pretty he is, actually. If you ever wonder what the drivers look like. There
He
you
is
go, guys.
Muchacho Buchacho. We love him because he is so macho.
And remember, he is the only when Red Bull held a competition to find the best sim racer in the UK. Chris Butcher entered that, and Chris Butcher
Right.
won that on against all of the non-simulation games that he never played as well. He went to Yas Marina and won a race there. So he is the Red Bull Gritters UK champion. Nyring is in a very curious spot there. He's outside to the left-hand side of it. That's very strange. Anyway, Chris Butcher on pole position. And we've got Lennon, Meervold, Gardner, Wiesenmuller, McGregor, Davis, Munro, Holm. This is going to be a fantastic race. I have no doubt about that. As we see now, this is the grid looking back from Chris Butcher's point of view. He's a demon starter normally, so look out for him to be first into turn one. And away from the grid they go for race 2 here from Pukekohe Park, and Butcher is away well, and Butcher will lead into turn 1, sorry. And
Mirabel's got a good start. He's passed Lennon already.
And Davis is up to 4th. Look at this. He's around the outside of Lennon. He's pushed too hard. He's pushed far too hard. And Meervold, he hit the curb really, really hard and got onto 2 wheels. And Lennon has now taken advantage of that. Lennon right in behind Toby Davis. And Holm is there as well with a great start also. So the 2 championship contenders had great starts here. And here comes Lennon down the straight. Look at this. He's 3 wide. Toby Davis is incredible. Meervold, Holm, Lennon, Wiesenmuller, Davies is absolutely stuck right now. He's on the inside there of Lennon. He's 3 wide. He's 4 wide. They can't do it, surely. They've got a 6 into 1, won't go. And it's absolutely incredible driving from all those drivers.
Yeah, that was magnificent. I absolutely loved it.
That was absolutely incredible. Davis has passed left, right, and centre. And Wiesenmuller sideways. Mervold's on the dirt. Davis on the dirt. Lennon right in behind. There's McGregor. There's Munro. And now Davis is back in behind Holm once again. Davis got mugged on that opening lap. Lennon, with that great drag of the Toyota Supra, managed to get past him, but of course then the power cars of Holm and Meervold came through as well. That was absolutely incredible. I can hardly breathe.
Sorry about
and,
that.
And Lennon Lennon Keith is obviously speechless.
No, I had my mic muted. I was being waved over by team manager. I'm amazed coming through the hairpin that there was no incident. It was like synchronized swimming, although it's not a sport. It was just beautiful.
Where's Holm? Where is Holm? Holm is 16th.
Oh, no.
Holm is 16th.
No,
what's happened to him?
He's falling rapidly.
Oh, what's happened to him? Oh, Davis has hit him. I do not believe that. Oh, no. Meervold has hit Davis into him.
Let's have a look. Let's get a better
we need
shot.
to go. Sorry, this is a really impressionable way of doing it. This way we can do it. So Davis going deep into the corner, but Meervold comes in deep as well and gives him a big shove straight into Holm. And Holm, of course, and then of course he gets spun around because Meervold's right there. That is unfortunate. And here comes McGregor through again. McGregor picked up 2 positions.
It was
absolutely
incredible. Comedy of
incredible.
errors there. That was, you could see that Davis fully. Okay, it shows the differences. Davis runs an oversteery car. Meervold runs an understeery car. Davis is sideways. Meervold pushes, hits Davis. Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. As Meervold pushes up the racetrack once again.
And takes the position away from, holds the position from Ross McGregor. Davis and Nyring now then. Davis on the back of Nyring now then. And Davis could perhaps win this race. So that's absolutely incredible at the moment. We've got Reese Gardner in the booth with us at the moment. He's been out there on the track racing here today. Got a great 6th spot in race 1. Was running well in race 2. What happened, Reese?
Well, it was a combination of contact and disconnection.
No.
Well,
the contact and disconnection. So that's Australian internet for you, unfortunately. Race, how did race 1 go for you?
Our race 1 was absolutely incredible. I mean, I had a lot of good fortune. I mean, I didn't actually make any on-track passes. It was mostly due to the large amount of incidents in race 1, but I'm very happy with that. But race 2, first I bogged down because I didn't get the lights, and I realized as I came around for the 2nd lap that my grid square was still on the track, which means disconnection. So I'm not going to say any more for fear of getting banned for swearing.
It's really I've been kind of praising that you've had such good luck. So I will Just oh dear. His
Oh,
contact there,
goodness
but-
me, this is all getting a head up. Thank you, Reese, for joining us, but it's getting very, very tasty on track right now. I would ask you to go and watch the broadcast because it's going to be an absolutely great show.
Yeah, no problem,
Good
guys.
luck at
I'll see you later.
Salzburg.
Yeah, see you at
Reese.
Salzburg Ring.
That was Butcher there was, I've got to say, it was a bit naughty. He did chop right across the front of Naring there, as Naring had a small overlap, and Butcher could have easily found himself in the fence.
Yo, absolutely. It's getting a little bit hectic. I
Naring
think-
wants this.
Oh, absolutely. It's seeking for redemption is basically what's happening right here.
It's on the outside once again. If you just hold the outside and get a good run off the corner, if I have the right person, we can look. Oh, look at this! Oh, it's a beautiful cutback from Naring. He might be able to do it right now. He's got the more powerful car, so it could help. He's given a lot of room to Chris Butcher there through the left-hander, but it's working. He's got the inside now for the final corner. He's pushed too hard, which means Butcher can't come down the inside. Oh, my goodness! Butcher almost went straight to the side of him, and Naring is back to second spot. Butcher hold on to the lead, but for how long? McGregor, fastest lap, around the outside. Naring, contact! Davis right there. Now into the first, the second turn, and the third and the fourth, and Butcher holds onto the lead once again, and this is helping Toby Davis no end, and here comes McGregor and Wiesenmuller. They're going to join the party as well. It's going to be a 5-car train. Two's
Yeah,
company,
and-
but 5's fun.
Well, and this is perfect for Davis's championship hopes because Adrian Holm is back in 12th and there's a lot of work cut out for him. But look at this, Klaus Naring looking around the outside. He's done it.
Don't speak too soon. Need to unbook that
crossover.
pass. Oh, look at the cutback once again. It's beautiful. He's got it this
Beautiful.
time.
Oh, fantastic stuff. Give that a replay. Klaus Naring deserves some credit for this fantastic move.
So on the outside here, Butcher breaks down the inside, right on the braking potential, goes straight on, and Naring goes, thank you very much. That is how you make a pass. That is called a cutback, absolutely. Now, Butcher is still challenging Naring, though. They're back to live action, and look, it is a bona fide 5-car train, Keith. We've got Wiesenmuller down the inside of McGregor. He's going to take the position away. He does. And now Butcher has Davis right in behind him. What does he do here? Does Butcher let Davis through? He knows Davis is quicker. He knows Davis is in the championship hunt. Davis is a teammate. Naring is not. And also, of course, Davis is a good friend. Oh, and Butcher is not letting him through at all. He's squeezing for all his worth. Oh, goodness me. Butcher almost cleaned up Naring, and Davis is through.
Yeah, what a move by Davis. Just asserting himself, being a little bit forceful, but Butcher wasn't giving him any room, so I got to give him credit for a fantastic move that got him up to second place, and now
It was hard but fair, wasn't it? Oh, here comes Butcher again.
Exactly.
No, Davis has been struggling through that corner. It has to be said. And now McGregor on the back of Wiesenmuller also as well. We're watching two battles go on here. Naring is loving this. Oh, it's contact! Oh, it's synchronized spinning! Butcher's around! Davis! Where's Davis going to come out at? Davis is still spinning! Goodness me! Oh, he's going to be way back! Where goes Holm? Where is Adrian Holm? There, no, that's Cervic. There's Holm.
There's Holm.
Oh, goodness me! What happened? What happened here? Oh, it looks like there's a squeeze. Oh, Davis squeezed. Butcher has to be said. He didn't leave him enough room, and contact around Davis went. He couldn't stop spinning. Look at this. Oh, he got hit. Oh, that's right. He got hit from Wiesenmuller. Wiesenmuller couldn't avoid them at all. That's absolutely incredible.
Cosworths. Synchronized Cosworths. I like it. We should coin the phrase.
Oh, goodness me. That I have no voice left at the end of this.
I guess Butcher squeezed Davis. Davis did make the move. Davis felt he owed a squeeze and it cost
Well,
him.
the thing is, the difference was Butcher squeezed him in a straight line and left it cars with. Davis squeezed
Correct.
Butcher
Oh, Davis
without a
is
cars
off.
with. He's okay. He's getting back on just. I'm saying that, hoping I wasn't eating my words then. But Davis wasn't leaving a cars with in a corner where Butcher was clearly alongside, and that's a big mistake I think from Davis, and it's cost
Look who's
both
in
of them.
second. Ross McGregor.
And yes, he is
Ross
slightly,
McGregor.
softly catchy monkey, Ross McGregor. And Toby Davis will be, his tires will be overheated as well now. His car's sliding around everywhere.
Well, here's a phrase that Toby coined me when I was randomly. I watched some old broadcast, and all of a sudden I've gained a bunch of positions. He called me the snake in the grass.
The snake in the grass.
Ross McGregor, I know, dubbed the snake in the grass.
Arise, Sir Snake in the Grass.
Arise.
Adrian Holmes up to 9th spot now. He'll be very, very pleased seeing Toby Davis ahead of him. Toby Davis will be very, very seeing Adrian Holmes still behind him, quite frankly, because it could have been even more disastrous, that spin. It was absolutely incredible. VTM never fails to surprise, Keith. We saw incident in the first race. Adrian Holm walked away with it on the face of it, but then we saw plenty of incident elsewhere. And then in this race, it's been absolutely incredible.
You know what? I got to say, it is one of the most exciting series that we've ever produced. And, you know, it's nice because of the fact that we have multiple cars. It's, you know, and I mean, if you do a comparison, as Davis gets a run on Lennon, he's got the slipstream of Butcher just ahead. I think that's a pretty well done deal down into the hairpin here as he goes through. But as I was saying, if you look at stuff like ATCC, although on a poor format of race 07, was exciting because you had multiple cars and it was a variety. And I think that's one of the biggest draws to VTM and why it's so exciting is that you do have the variables. Things are a little different, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive that we had in ATCC. And I'm really looking forward to the future of having these things again, but on a stronger platform, better for broadcasting and better for, well, management and administration.
Absolutely, and that's probably going to be a set of course as we move forward as well. So we're really looking forward to that.
As
now Davis and Butcher,
absolument.
Absolument. And Owen Munro has got some damage to the back of his car as well. He's got Mirvold ahead of him. Nobody's liking being behind Mirvold.
Wiese Mueller's up to second. McGregor back to third. Mirvold in fourth.
So here we go. Oh, we're still side by side, though. It's not a done deal at all, is it? Goodness me.
Side by age.
And Biesenmüller was well ahead at the sector point. So he made a small mistake, I think, in that sector one.
Oh, boy. Well done.
McGregor slots in behind. Nyring is still 1.2 seconds ahead. Nyring could be on for his first Touring Pro Series win here.
I'm really liking the look of Nyring, and I'm very, it's very unfortunate I'm not going to be able to see the end of this race because I am going to have to head up to the grid. If Nyring should win, I'm not leaving right this second, but if Nyring should win, be sure to tell him that I mad respect for everything he's done in this race.
Yeah, that tenacity has paid off, hasn't it? He could have just given up in that second race, in that first race, but he didn't, and he got the reward.
It speaks miles for character when you don't give up. You know you're fast. You know what? There's nothing more frustrating than preparing for a race.
Monroe was back down to 11th. Sorry to interrupt. Monroe was back down to 11th. He was up challenging Merville for 4th. Oh, he's off the track once again. He's struggling. He's all flustered. But there's no substitute for hard work, is there, Keith? It really isn't.
And the thing is you do the hard work leading up to the event. And there's nothing more frustrating than having something take you out of it, because and you just drop like your emotions and everything. But I would love to finish this anecdote, but I am being screamed at by my manager here for the team. I'm so happy to be here with you, and good luck with the rest of the broadcast, Ryan.
Oh, you sucked.
And good luck to the rest of the drivers. But if Klaus does happen to win, make sure you pass that message on.
Absolutely, I will. And good luck, Keith, in the rest of the session. Well, we'll carry on with this fantastic action here as Butcher now is fighting with Davis, and Butcher's in a fighting mood, of course, because he feels hard done by. Davis will feel hard done by. He'll feel, get on my way, Chris, I am in the championship battle. Butcher will say, earn it. He wants to now got Adrian Hall right in behind him. Now they're going to go down the straight, line astern. It's going to give a double draft to Adrian Holm. And now Adrian Holm's going to get the great run here because he's got the power. And now Butcher slotting in behind Toby Davis. Going to go 3 wide down the straight. Butcher in the middle. Here comes Adrian Holm around the outside. Butcher trying now to almost push Toby Davis past Adrian Holm. Oh, breaking into the corner. Then Butcher is almost out of control. Holm thinks better of it and gets completely out of the way. Butcher's gone sideways on the grass. Here comes Holm around the outside. And he's going to take the spot. That was great driving from Adrian Holm. He let them just get on with it and picked up the pieces. And they went, oh, a mistake for Adrian Holm. Just as I said that, commentator's curse. Holm right back to 7th once again. And Lennon has been passed by Jeff Dobbing. Jeff is right in amongst the championship contenders at the moment, around the outside of Adrian Holm. Not going to happen this time around. Butcher sideways. Davis is leading this group. Nyring leads by 1.8 seconds from McGregor. 2.2 seconds is a gap between first and third. Here's the rest of the grid for you. I'm not showing it in too long. We've got Minar out of the race. Matthews, Oyala, Tuunainen, Gardiner all out of the race. Salo did not start the race, unfortunately. He pulled over during race 1 with some kind of issue. But now it's Davis from Butcher from Holm still. And this is crucial, remember, in the championship standings. Remember, the championship standings are as this. There are 30 points. Oh, so that's absolutely not the right one. There was the old championship standings. Here's the new championship standings. There are 30 points for a win. And the gaps are around about 2 points further you go down the grid. So at the moment, Davis will be level, I think, with Adrian Holm in the championship. It couldn't get any tighter. It really couldn't. It's fantastic racing here today at the moment. And now Holm. He wants away past Chris Butcher. I think we've been on. I do apologise if we've had no engine sounds throughout the second race. Now we have them. Exciting enough without them. As Wiesenmuller has been passed by McGregor once again, and contact there into the hairpin. Ooh, that looked a little bit dodgy there from Wiesenmuller. Whether McGregor just moved across him, I'm not quite sure. But the gap there is just 0.3 of a second between those two. Butcher and Holm are now swapping positions once again. Butcher staying ahead of Holm. Meervold is still in 4th spot. He has got 9 laps to try and hold on to his best ever Touring Pro Series result. But he's got Holm, Butcher and Davis breathing right down his neck. They will surely catch up before race end. The gap is 1.1 seconds between them. Davis gained 0.3 of a second during that last sector. He's going to be with him in the next couple of laps. But of course, catching him and passing the Pink Power is another matter. John Monroe has recovered to 10th spot. He's ahead of Scott Cervic and Eunice Rivio now. But he'll be disappointed. Remember, he was the fastest guy leading up to the event. He qualified second on the grid. He finished second in the first race. He's come a cropper in this second race. And now, Holm has gone past Chris Butcher. Holm finally has that 6th spot. Butcher pushing Holm all the way through the corner. Get on with it, he says, Adrian. I still want a couple of positions here. So now, Holm has got himself back up to the rear of Toby Davis's Ford Sierra. This race has been completely unpredictable. Klaus Naring is still leading this race. Not doing the lap times that Adrian Holm did in the first race. That's to be expected. Of course, Adrian Holm has been way back in the pack. He was way up in the pack, remember, he got a great start, dropped back to past 16th position. Montero gets out of the way. Holm, the championship leader, by his time, I feel, in behind Toby Davis. Toby Davis is going to be held up at one of the corners by Ollie Meervold, surely, and Holm will be able to use the power of that skyline to go past. My prediction for this. Wiesenmuller has now gapped Ross McGregor. 1.6 seconds now the gap between Wiesenmuller and Naring. Let's keep an eye on that gap as well. It seems to be coming down. Wiesenmuller is not done with this just yet. He has a win in the Virtual Touring Masters. He has several wins in the Virtual Mini Challenge. Now Davis, right in behind Ollie Meervold. What can he do about it? That's the issue. This is not where he wants to be right now. Held up in the corner by Meervold. It's going to allow Adrian Holm to get a run. Adrian Holm's hit the curb though, that's harmed him. It's allowed Davis just to scoot away off the corner a little bit. And now Davis is going to hug that slipstream. Who's ahead of him just right there? It looks like maybe Paul Jones getting out of the way perhaps. It is Paul Jones, going to get out of the way, coming down into this. He can't decide which way to go, of course. He's got 3 cars buried down him. He does a good job in the end. Davis down the inside of Meervold. It's not going to work. Not going to work. You can't push that hold out of the way. But now Holm is right there. Davis is going to have to stay around the outside of the left-hander. He needs the inside for the final turn, but Holm is going to have it. No, Davis is going to be right there. Davis, of course, will stick the nose in, and he's going to stay ahead. And Meervold sideways off the corner as well. That hulking Holden is holding up these guys now. This is the excitement now for the rest of the race. Keep an eye on the gap at the front though. 59.4 last time around from Klaus Naring. That's a fantastic lap. He really picked up his pace. And Davis is deja vu once again. This time he has a worse run off the corner though. As Holm pulls out to make a move, and now Holm's going to pull out, make a move down the inside here also as well. Davis has a slipstream, they're going to be side by side coming down to the corner. Who's going to come out ahead? Davis on the outside. Holm now covers the inside. Will Davis go back down the inside here? He will go down the inside. Holmes allowed the door to open. And Davis has the inside. It's the same situation we had before, but now Holm has the overlap, and Holm is through. Butcher is right there as well. Butcher is a fly in the open at the moment for the two championship contenders. And Holm might get on. Holm was timed that perfectly off the corner. Now he has a run on Mervold. He's going to get past Mervold and put a gap on himself and Toby Davis. Surely Davis is trying to stick his nose in. He knows he needs to take advantage of Mervold being held up right now. Mervold is going in deep. There's contact. They've got the way again. Mervold now is on the outside. Davis on the inside. Mervold's going to have the power down the straight though. This is going to be key. Holmes through. Holmes away. But surely Davis won't be able to hold off Mervold. And Butcher is helping Mervold come through. Mervold is helping Butcher go through. Davis no. Butcher pulls back in, allows Davis to get back in line. I'm not quite sure actually if that's the case, because here he comes again. Oh, it's contact again. Butcher and Davis. Butcher is off. Davis goes through on Mervold. Butcher spat off in the wrong direction. He's back down to ninth spot. He's back in behind Munro and Dobbing. Dobbing enjoying his best run of his TPS career, surely. Let's have a replay of that. Butcher was on the inside. Davis was either passing or making an avoidance on Mervold on the inside as well. There's contact between the two, and then Davis went through. Of course, Butcher was spat out the other side. What a beautiful recovery from Butcher actually to get going once again. But now he's lost 2 positions. He was in the 7th, he's now in 9th, and now Mervold has been passed and gapped by Toby Davis as well. This is the guy to watch next, the angry Chris Butcher. Mikael Helen has come up from the back of the grid almost, up to 13th spot. He'll be very pleased with his run so far today. Let's actually have a quick look at this. We've got Straub just ahead of Matty Orban and Daniel Beck. There's Daniel Beck just in behind in the Bastos entry. And there you see the difference between the M3 and the Mustang in a straight line. Daniel Beck make a move. No, he's way behind actually, in fact. But then under braking, you see the difference between... Oh, and off the track's going to go! Oh, Tim Stroud almost took out Bradley Vanian, but Matty Orban took full advantage and through he goes. Daniel Beck's done the same thing. John Monroe now, who's got the issue of trying to get past Olin Marius Meervold. Here we are, but Monroe has a little bit more power and has a bit more chance of going past the Holden. Got the slipstream, but Mervold's come straight back across once again. As soon as Monroe dipped out, Mervold's had enough power just to chop off the Scotsman. Montero gets out of the way once again. Monroe around the outside. Mervold's not the type to allow that sort of thing. Mervold sideways off the corner. Going to be side by side through turn 6. Still side by side. Monroe's going to try the cutback here. He's going to try it. Mervold is slow off the corner. Monroe has got the inside, but will he have enough of the inside for turn 1? There's Monroe, and yes he does. Monroe took his place in 6th spot. Jeff Dobbin right behind these guys, and here is Chris Butcher. With fireworks flying if he gets up to Olin Marius Mervold. That's absolutely sure. Nyring is 1.7 seconds ahead of Ross McGregor. Ross McGregor is under threat from being passed by Adrian Holm. I thought I saw some dust a couple of about a lap ago when I was cycling back to the field to see the Monroe-Mervold battle, and it might have been McGregor who was the driver creating that dust, as Butcher goes around the outside of Jeff Dobbing and takes 8th spot. But is McGregor under threat here? He is under threat, and Davis does not want Adrian Holm to get ahead of Ross McGregor. Adrian Holm at the moment is on for 23 points, Davis on for 21. The gap will be 6 points in Adrian Holm's favour if they stay as they are, but McGregor is under huge pressure right now. It looks like Holm has the eyes on for this 3rd spot. This 3rd spot would give him another podium position in his TPS career, but importantly, another 2 points in that championship. Oh, it's close. McGregor now holding the inside. Monroe's got the outside. McGregor, they're side by side. McGregor, can he keep the overlap? He can't quite do it. Holm is ahead. Holm is through to third. That is crucial in the championship. Absolutely crucial. And it's not what Toby Davis wanted to see. Final up. Nyring has gone off. Nyring has gone off. Nyring is back to second spot. What on earth has happened here? Where did he go off at? Was it down at the hairpin? I'm not sure what happened to him. But either way, Robert Wiesenmuller is in the lead of this race. That's absolutely incredible. We're not sure what happened to Klaus Nyring, but Nyring has thrown away this win. This would have been his first TPS win, and is not going to happen. It seems likely now that Wiesenmuller will take his 9th Touring Pro Series win of his career. And Wiesenmuller's going to do it. Robert Wiesenmuller, from nowhere, with a lap to go, is going to win this race. Wiesenmuller wins. Nyring will be gutted with his second spot. Third spot's going to go, crucially, to Adrian Holm, with fourth to Toby Davis. He passed Ross McGregor off the final turn, a tenth ahead of him. That was absolutely crucial as well in the championship. What a championship battle we have on our hands here with the two good friends Toby and Adrian. 6th John Monroe, 7th Merbold, 8th Butcher, 9th Dobbin, with 10th Gary Lennon, Scott Server right in behind him, and Eunice Rivio and Mikael Helen. What a great fight back for him in 13th spot. Where is Matty Orban? There he is, 14th spot. Where's the rest of the field come through? Tim Stroud gets 15th in that big Mustang. 16th Bruno Salsa Ferreira. 17th is Daniel Beck in the end. He was actually ahead of Tim Stroud, so something happened to him. Chris Vickers there in 18th. Bradley Vanian in 19th. And Łukasz Demelin rounding out that top 20. What an absolutely incredible, action-packed 2 races we've seen here today. We're going to get some driver reaction in just a few minutes' time. Stick around. Hello and welcome back to Pukekohe Park. We've got the driver reaction coming up after two absolutely fantastic incident-filled races here in the New Zealand track. And we saw Adrian Holm take that first race win, and then Robert Wiesemuller snatch a win away from Klaus Naring in the second race. As I say, we're going to get some driver reaction now. And first of all, we'll talk to the first race leader, Adrian Holm. Adrian, fantastic stuff in that first race. You absolutely drove a clinic. Congratulations for that. We won't talk too much about that, but talk about race 2.
Yeah, that was a bit crazy. Made a fantastic start and into the hairpin I was third, and yeah, then I finished third as well. But a lot of stuff happened in between. But a lot of fun racing at the end of the day, so I'm not too sad about it.
You had some great racing, of course, and then it all went wrong on the opening laps. You had the contact from Davis, who was pushed by Meervold. How were you feeling at that point?
Obviously, everything kind of crashes down on you. But when I got back, I wasn't too far down, so just got my head into it and just try to be as quick around other cars as possible so I could have a free track. And yeah, it helped that the cars up ahead were battling, and the end there, McGregor was really struggling with his tires, so that was just a bonus spot really to get up on the podium. But yeah, it was not like I planned.
It really was fantastic work. But then, of course, I mean, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to lose a boatload of points here to Toby Davis. Toby challenging for the lead. And then suddenly, Toby appears from nowhere. What was your reaction then?
I
mean, he came back to you, didn't he? It was a fantastic championship.
Mixed feeling, because I just had it happen to myself, and it doesn't feel good, and I don't want anybody to have that feeling. But in terms of championship, it's obviously it doesn't hurt, but it's not how it should be, to be honest. Would much rather that we just carried on in the position we were at the beginning and battled out from that point.
Well, that would be very, very boring. No one would watch that. So anyway, congratulations, Adrian. You're now leading the championship by 6 points, as you can see here. I mean, you've got Salzburg Ring coming up next, which is obviously probably going to be a strong track for the Skyline, almost certainly. But then after that, you've got Brands Hatch and Trois Rivières, and then Bathurst. I mean, it's all up in the air still, isn't it, for you?
It really is. That Trois Rivières is that's going to be tough. I think Brands Hatch will be a lot better than Trois Rivières, but still not a perfect one, I guess. Bathurst, just throw it up in the air and see where it lands, really. But yeah, it's a pretty good chances, as Toby said. He said he would be first or second, and I think that's the situation for me as well.
Okay, so good luck in the rest of the season, Adrian. Congratulations on that race 1 win. It was absolutely clinic. And congratulations on your fighting drive from race 2 also. I'm going to speak now to the second race winner, Robert Wiesemuller. Robert, out of nowhere, how does that feel?
Yeah, that was, I think that was a gift from Klaus, that win. But yeah, I didn't expect that at all. I drove pretty bad in the first race, actually. And yeah, it feels good to get a win in these cars.
I mean, you took full advantage of the mistake from Klaus, but you weren't quite on the pace of people like Monroe and Holm here today. So you took full advantage of all the happenings in that second race. I mean, talk us through what your point of view in that second race of the battling with McGregor and Toby and everybody.
First of all, the battle with Toby and Chris ahead of me. They made contact into the first corner, and I was just behind them, and I could see them both spinning and the tire smoke going up, and I was just slowing down. I didn't want to go all the way to the outside on the grass or so, because then I would come back on the track in the chicane. So I just slowed down, and Toby spun to one side and then the other, and I just couldn't avoid him at some point, even though I was going pretty slow. And then I was fighting with Ross, and I was hoping that he stops attacking me and just follows me in the draft, because I was a bit faster than him, but he just didn't do that, and it was really annoying. It was frustrating me a lot. And in the end, I got past him. But lost a lot of time to Klaus, and I was hoping I was a bit quicker than him, but actually I wasn't. So yeah, I was just driving behind him, and it was clear to me that he would win the race, but then 2 laps before the end he made a mistake. And of course that's what I've been waiting for. And yeah, then I could take the win. Of course, the circumstances helped me a lot this time, also with Adrian having a little incident, and John as well, I think, and then see what happened there.
Yeah, and I mean, you've taken your 9th TPS career win now. It means you have more wins than Ryan Callan and Florian Strauss. How does that feel?
Yeah, that sometimes I think I could be running TPS, I could be running in Blancpain Endurance Series, but no, I'm still feeling good about it.
Robert, you mean with an illegal mod? Surely not. Anyway,
but just one thing I want to say before you go to the next driver. Sorry to Ole in first race. Yeah, just stupid mistake from me. I went for a gap that was never going to be there.
Yes, I was
Probably
going to ask about that, actually. Yes,
cost him the chance. And also with Klaus, I just didn't pay attention on lap 4 or so, and I just gave him a slight tap in the final corner section, and unfortunately he lost it. I also lost it there. So first race, really nightmare race for me.
Okay, so we'll move on now to Klaus Naering. Klaus, you knew this was coming as soon as that mistake on the penultimate lap happened. We didn't actually catch it on the broadcast. Can you just talk us through what happened?
I was going to pass, I think it was Lucas Dimmerlin, into turn 1. He chooses more or less the ideal line, so I have to go on the inside of him through that, so I run wide into turn 2. Then I lose my back end and slide off into turn 3.
So do you think Lukash is to blame for that, or
No,
just one of those
not
things?
at all.
Oh,
it's just I've been driving like 20 laps, sort of on my own. So I'm just in the zone, just driving, and then I suddenly way off my line, and then I fall off the track. My own mistake.
Oh, but you showed such great pace out front as well. You were faster than Wiesenmuller, you were faster than McGregor, and you had such great pace in the pre-practice. It's still encouraging to get that second spot, and we were praising you in the broadcast because you fell back to 31st in the first race. You came back to 10th. You got rewarded with that pole position as well. So congratulations to you, and much kudos to you for fighting through and not giving up.
Thanks.
It really was fantastic to watch you come back through, and then almost taking that win would have been your first TPS win. They don't come easy, TPS wins, unfortunately, and Klaus has just found out that's the case as well. So hopefully you can do better at Salzburg. The track suits your car there, Klaus, so we'll look out for you there. So now we're going to talk to Toby Davis. Toby is the other championship contender. He's had a couple of very good results, considering what's happened and considering your fears before the race.
Yeah, I got there in a very weird way, though, I have to say.
I mean, it was two absolutely manic races. Talk us through the key highlights for you.
Yeah, race 1, obviously, we had I couldn't quite, I just needed 10 more brake horsepower or something. I just couldn't quite keep up with the Skylines. And I had to wait for an opportunity with McGregor and then slight contact, and I apologise for that. I haven't seen the replay on that, so I don't know. But it felt like I got a little bit sideways into him and perhaps put him off. But yeah, and then race 2, it was all over the shop, to be honest. And me and Chris made contact at T1. I think he sort of understeered into me as I turned in for the corner, and we both spun. And then RW hit me, and then it was all over the show. And that was after I'd cut the first corner as well, and I had to give loads of positions back. But there you go.
So lots of THR teamwork there, it sounds like.
Yeah, it didn't go well for the rest of the race, actually. And I was trying to... we were behind Mervolt, and obviously the Holden brakes really early, and I hadn't quite allowed for it. I was going to smash into the Holden, dived right, and there was Butchie on my right-hand side, so we both sort of did a half spin, and I just saved mine, and Butchie dropped a couple of positions. So again, apologies to Chris, but it wasn't a great deal I could do on that one. I never seen him.
At the end of the day, provisionally you're 6 points behind Adrian Holm coming out of this. It's better than you expected.
Yeah, I would expect it to stay 6 points behind Adrian, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than I expected.
It's better than you expected before the race. You thought you'd maybe be 10, 12 points behind after the two races.
I've just got to minimise the damage at Salzburg. And it's going to be about strategy, and I know it's going to be about who can do a no-stopper. The Skylines won't be able to. Whether I can get away with it or not, I don't know. Time will tell. If I can, that is definitely the better strategy at Salzburg Ring. Even though it's a short pit lane, it's a very high-speed straight, and you do lose a lot of time good 20 seconds. And it's the same as Pukekohe. Tyres just you're not in enough corners for tyres to make that much difference. So we'll see.
Okay, so good luck for the rest of the season, Toby. You're right in the hunt, and congratulations on your good results here today. Now, we want to speak to your sparring partner, Chris Butcher. Chris, what's all your view on that contact, shall we say, with Toby?
I think the explanation smells a little bit.
Oh, I see. So you don't agree with the explanations?
It was hard racing. I mean, the spin at the hairpin with Mervold, I accept that, but not sure I accept the turn 1 incident.
Okay. Well, apart from that, obviously, you were fighting for the win in race 2.
Nah, I wasn't. I didn't have the pace, if I'm honest. It was the only thing that got me there was a good start. I knew I was going to lose it.
And obviously, you didn't have very much preparation coming into this event. So, I mean, were you happy with your pace in the end? Considering lack of preparation.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. To be fair, I was expecting to qualify somewhere like the mid 25s, 20s or something like that. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and my race pace was half decent. The results should have been better, I think. But I can't complain too much, having had no practice. Really, it's not my fault for the preparation. Really, it's just one of those things.
Yes, and that thing obviously comes back to bite you in the end. So obviously you've got the rest of the season to come, and you can enjoy yourself, or not enjoy yourself, racing with Toby. But either way, obviously, whatever you feel about that, I'm sure things will iron themselves out eventually. And good luck in the rest of the season. Now, I wanted to finally speak to one final person, and that was Mikael Helen, if you will speak to us. Mikael, are you there? He is there. Fantastic. Mikael, you've not raced in the Touring Pro Series for 3 years, well over 3 years. And you've come back, and you had some decent pace, especially in race 2, where you came back from the back of the grid to the 13th spot.
Yeah, I mean, well, I actually expected to be around 15, so I think I didn't expect to go from the back up to 15th, but from the first race, it was like a pinball. Everybody hit me from everywhere, so I had no choice except to start from the back. So I don't know, it was fun. That was all it was.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Mikael, and hopefully you can have a good run at Salzburg Ring as well. A bit of a calmer race at Salzburg Ring, with it being a longer race. Everyone not quite so eager to get positions in the early runnings. So thank you to all the drivers today for racing for us. It's been a fantastically entertaining. Thank you to everyone who's watching, and we've got Salzburg Ring coming up in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be another cracker of a race. It's a great looking track also as well. So we're looking forward to that. Same time, that's 8 p.m. UK, 9 p.m. Central European time. And we'll see you there. Take care.